Hey, what's up? Serpentine here, taking a look at Atlas Reactor, a multiplayer turn-based strategy game being developed by Trion Worlds, the same guys behind the MMOs Defiance and Trove. Atlas Reactor has you going head-to-head against an enemy 4-man team versus your own, with combat playing out all at the same time. The game plays out over 5 phases per round, starting off with the planning phase, where you, your teammates and the enemy all take a short period of time at the same time to plan out their moves and what abilities they want to use. Being such a team-focused game, you need to know what your teammates are planning on doing, and the game provides a pretty good overlay system that shows you where your teammates are planning to move to and the ability outlines so you know who they're targeting. The planning phase timer could be extended slightly more though, as you can easily run out of time even when you are paying full attention to the game, not really allowing you to play super strategically. After everyone has locked in their moves, or when the timer runs out, everything you've planned will begin to play out phase by phase, starting with the setup phase for things like buffs or shields, the dash phase to move out of any possible damage coming your way, attack phase to deal damage to your enemies, and finally the move phase. To win, you must defeat 5 of your opponents before you reach the 20th round. If you manage to get to the 20th round, then the team with the most kills wins, or in the case that it's a draw, the game will go into sudden death. When you're killed, you'll be put out of the game for a round before spawning back into the fray in the next. Foresight is an extremely important part of the game, as well as knowing each character's ability so that you can counter or at least predict their actions.
5 turns remaining.
The characters in Atlas Reactor are separated into 3 different roles: Firepower, Frontline, and Support. With a current total of 16 characters, the roster is pretty diverse, from bullet bouncing sharpshooters to science experiments and robotic dogs. Characters all have 5 abilities, including an ultimate and a basic attack. The basic attack can be used every round, but your other abilities, once used, will go on cooldown for a turn or two, so they have to be used wisely. Abilities will vary from attacks, dashes, and prep, playing out in their appropriate phases after the planning phase. Using your abilities will also gain you some stamina charges that are needed to use your ultimate and are consumed on use, so it pays to be a little bit more offensive. If you aren't close enough to enemies to attack though, you can trade in your ability use for double movement to get back into the fight, or perhaps to even get out of one. While your abilities have a main function, they can also be augmented with additional effects ranging from increased damage to adding a slow effect. Augmenting your abilities though all goes towards a total tally, with each augment costing a certain amount of points, so you can't just select all the really powerful ones. Other than your abilities though, you also enter a game with 3 one-use abilities called catalysts that act kind of like summoner abilities in other games. You select these while in the lobby before the game, with each slot containing a couple of choices each. The first slot is a buff, the second slot is a dash, and lastly the third slot is for utility. The map itself offers a ton of strategic mechanics to take advantage of that can drastically reduce your damage taken, or perhaps allow you to move unseen. The damage reduction comes in the way of environmental cover. Pretty much every obstacle on the map will provide cover, reducing your damage taken quite significantly, unless of course the enemy is flanking you. While some characters have invisibility built into their abilities, there are also these shimmering tiles that when entered will give you invisibility and works very much like the brush in League of Legends. So if the enemy has vision inside the shimmering tiles, or if you attack from them, you'll be revealed. Finally, the maps also contain various pickups like health orbs, stamina boosts, and cooldown orbs. The map variation currently in the game though is a little bit lacking, making the game slightly more repetitive than it probably should be, but the game is still in development and new maps are starting to appear in the game's rotation. Other features of the game includes a crafting system that will allow you to craft alternate visual effects for every ability in the game. There are also seasons that basically act like missions or objectives that can be completed for various loot boxes called loot matrices. Inside each of these are a couple of different cosmetics and crafting items, including skins, chat emotes, visual effects, and more. You can receive 4 of these loot matrices per season, with each season lasting a couple of weeks or so. Reaching account level milestones will also reward you with rarer and rarer loot matrices. Altogether, Atlas Reactor is quite a unique game and quite a bit of fun. Even with the somewhat small maps, the game provides a ton of strategic options from the various environmental effects and just general positioning and ability use with your team. Its combination of genres also appeals to numerous players, from turn-based and real-time strategy to MOBAs and tactics games. If you're a fan of any of those games and like team-based competitive multiplayer games, then Atlas Reactor is definitely worth a look. If you're more into grand strategy or perhaps just aren't about turn-based gameplay, then maybe this isn't for you. Anyway, that's been my player preview of Atlas Reactor. The game is currently available via Steam Early Access and Glyph for $19.99 or your regional equivalent, and is planned to officially release sometime this year. If you want to find out more about the game, check out the links below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Using Catalyst. Alright, switch gears. You can't hide from me. Bury me with my money.